How do you feel about the Union after last night's loss? Options are not worried at all, worried about them in big matches, or it's time to make some changes. All right. And leading the way right now is worried about big matches with 66.2%. In second place right now is not worried at all with 18.2%. And right now in last is time to make changes with 13.6%. 22 votes. We're under an hour with this one, so we've got some votes here. But let's dive into last night. Obviously, Messi in Chester for the first time. A lot of excitement. Like literally, as someone who was there as media, we had every single media outlet in Philadelphia. We had some internationally, some that didn't even speak English, who were there for Messi and Miami. There was a sea of pink, sea of Argentinian blue. There was a little bit of Barcelona's jerseys in there as well. When the best player, maybe the best athlete of all time, shows up in one of the biggest sports, people are going to show up, and that's exactly what happened. Leading into the match, a lot of people felt the Union were underdogs, and maybe they were right just a little bit. The Union lose 4-1. Messi's Miami, they took over from the jump. They did as they wanted. They took control of the game. It was weird to watch as a Union fan who's watched the team for a long time now, because this current iteration of the Union don't allow this to happen typically. Miami did what they wanted with the Union yesterday, and it was disappointing to say the least. They had a crap ton of corners, a crap ton of chances. Second half, they looked like they were going to make a little bit of a comeback, but at the end of the day, they clamped down, and the Union could not do anything after that, man. So real quick, and I want to get to Cahtah's thoughts about this as well. So I just want to say this. It was a bad loss simply because of this. This was hyped up to be like a playoff game. Now, this is technically a playoff game, but this is Leagues Cup. It's not MLS play. It's a separate tournament where there's more compensation. In reality, it's a money grab for MLS and Liga MX. So that's really what it is. It's not really that big of a deal to lose yesterday. But because of Messi being in town, because of the Union being the best team, arguably over the past couple of years, this is why that was that big of a match. And it was treated as so. So when the Union showed up flat like they did, and I wouldn't say they showed up flat. I think what I saw I saw a team in the Union who went out there and played maybe a little scared, maybe a little pushback, maybe the bright lights, maybe the fact that Messi was there. I don't know what exactly was, but they just did not look like themselves, especially in that first half. And so that is where a lot of the concerns for people are. Because in a match where it was treated like a big game, the Union again could not show up. And this is the reoccurring issue. Yes, in regular seasons, they put up a lot of points. If you know what it feels like, Cahtah? It feels like the Andy Reid era. Generational players, Hall of Fame players. You make an NFC Championship games, you make a Super Bowl, but these guys can't get the job done. Andy was there for 14 years. Curtin's already on year number 8. Like, you can see the resemblance there. And again, the same thing happens where this team cannot get the job done in the big game. Here's my take. It was a bad loss. Losing like that, where it looked uninspired, is a bad loss. But at the end of the day, it does not matter. But with that being said, you hear a lot of MLS 2.0, MLS 3.0. It feels like right now we're heading into MLS 3.0. MLS 2.0, that's where you saw Beckham, Terry Henry come into the league. MLS 3.0 is where you saw the league kind of take a step back, decided to develop with young talent and be a league of young talent coming in. So now if we're heading in the MLS 4.0, you're seeing what LAFC is doing. Now you're seeing what Inter Miami's doing. I think it's the message clear. If you want to win in this league, you're going to have to spend more money. All right. I don't know if you need to spend on like guys like Messi and Gareth Bale and such, but money needs to be spent if you want to win in this league now. So the reality set to me yesterday, although it wasn't that big of a deal to lose. But if we're going to compete, Nathan Harriels of the world are nice. Leon Flocks of the world are nice. Mikel Urre, by the way, had a really good game yesterday, are nice. But you see what you need to do to compete with the best of the best in this league. Now, Cahtah, you, my man, you have seen Union soccer in its best stages. But for you, man, what did you see out there?
Honestly, it just seems like I've just noticed this ever since I've been watching the Union. Whenever there is a big game, and it almost feels like the Sixers to a point on the same way. Whenever there's a big game, they fall flat. And it's not that they're not a good team, they just don't, for some reason, show up in the big situations. And even going back to your point of spending money, maybe it's not as much spending money, but maybe find a way to keep a guy like Brendan Aronson around. I mean, I know that's easier said than done because they want to go play in Europe, but I mean, Brendan Aronson would have done a ton for this team still being here. But that's hopefulness, I guess.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying there. So my thing is like that's a great example you bring up. All right, so Brendan Aronson, you're selling for like $6 million. You got extra money because he got sold off later on to Leeds. Mark McKenzie, you get a good chunk of change. I know DeVries, you got like a little bit, but at least that's European money. It's euros. That's a good amount of money. You sold some players. Where's the money going to? I get it, the youth academy, right? We're trying to have the best youth academy in the country, and I understand that. But like youth academy players, they take a while. And like you're seeing now, like the Uni literally on the same day they lose to Messi Miami, Richard Odaa, where is he from? Cameroon. I completely blanking on where he's from. But Richard Odaa, he gets bought last year, and now this Danish team likes what they saw in a little bit of they seen of him, and they loan him, and then there's an option to buy. So like you get young players, and this is kind of like the trend in soccer in general, especially if you're not the Premier League team, you sell players and then you use that money towards other players. My problem is that you're getting this money, you're investing it back in youth academy, but you're not spending any of your money. All this money that has been spent has been money that is what you've gotten in the transfer market. Jay, you made a lot. And Jay Sugarman, for people who don't know, that is the owner of the Union. You have done a great job of building a solid foundation, a solid club in the MLS with little money that you've put into it. It is time now if you want to win. And you've seen when there's a winning team in Philadelphia, they will show up. Cahtah, prove me. Am I right or am I wrong? People actually were caring about the Union again yesterday because of Messi.
Oh, yeah.
People were talking about it.
And I bet you if they beat Messi, the whole city would be talking about it today.
WIP, first thing they talk about WIP. Did you see the Union beat Messi last night? Like, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely agree with you. So if Jay, you see that, you've lived here long enough, it's time to dish the money out. I feels like we're now in MLS 4.0, the fourth stage of this league, this young, very young league. And I want the Union to stay with the top. I want the Union to stay elite with the rest of the league. And they need to find a way to keep up with there. Ian saying poor coaching, poor lineup, poor tactics from head to toe. Another point that I saw as well was the tactics, was the lineup. The lineup was honestly garbage. Truthfully, was garbage. So they ran I don't even know what to call this. So let's just say this was a 5-3-2-1. Like let's just say that's what it was, because reality, it didn't make sense, the lineup. So you pretty much have Blake and goal still. You have Lowe, Glesses, Elliott, and Lowe, Glesses, and Elliott is your back line. Your two wing backs, Harrio and Wagner. The three in the midfield was Brujo, Flock, and Jesus Bueno. Gazak was your attacking guy. Chris Donovan was your forward. The tactics made no sense. And here's the thing, like no Carranza, right? That sucks. That's rough. But you decide to start Chris Donovan? Like, I get Chris Donovan's coming off a big match, and Jim loves to just congratulate or reward. He likes to reward players for hard play, good practicing ethics, and it, like, I get that, and we understand that. But Chris Donovan is what he is. He missed like 3 chances last night in that second half. We love his story, Philly kid, Drexel boy. We love that. But at the end of the day, like, we're going up against Messi, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, Josef Martinez. People forget as well. Everyone was shitting on Miami's roster. Josef Martinez was an MLS MVP not that long ago in 2018. Like, they have a good team, but I do think that these guys did play low. And another point I wanted to mention. So to the tactics point, Pat Noonan, who's now with Cincinnati, he was in charge of tactics, the game plan of the Union, and that was a big help to Jim. Now Jim has to rely on kind of himself, the rest of his analytical team, and of course Ryan Richter is there, and we're not really sure what Ryan Richter's role is. When I saw Pat Noonan here, he seemed more involved than Ryan was. Ryan just seems like he's just looking at what Jim's doing. And that could be an issue because now Jim has a lot more responsibility, and that could be tough. And so where Jim is using his mindset of rewarding good play, you see what happens. Chris Donovan was not ready for that situation. Maybe 30 minutes of Chris Donovan's good, but 67 minutes of Chris Donovan was not really what we wanted to see at all, man. Absolutely terrible. 0-3 in U.S. Open Cup. Oh, is it loading? Here we go. 0-3 in U.S. Open Cup. 0-2 in Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League semifinals. 0-1 in MLS Finals. 0-1 in Leagues Cup semifinals. Yeah. I mean, are we missing anything? No, I think that's what we're. Supporter Shield year they get upset in that first match against New England. Plus, much players were star watching, and I do think that did happen, man. Just the way that they were looking at just Messi, man, in this situation. You can't you gotta go in there. Like last night, you gotta go in there with the mentality like, fuck Messi. I'm gonna destroy Messi. And I don't feel like they did that. I get it. Messi's the GOAT. It's so cool seeing him. But you got a job to do. And they played down, man. Problem we are going to force Jay to spend money. Yeah, we could definitely try. Jay has been very stingy since day one, and we all know this. The thing is too, I feel like with the success of the union, I feel like European players have to start noticing that. And our athletic director our GM, Ernst Tanner, does have some connections over in Europe. So it's definitely why couldn't we go after Roberto Firmino? In reality, I doubt we even tried that, despite Roberto Firmino's connection with Ernst Tanner. Why aren't we going after that?